Clement Townsend, Dylan McGordy, and it's time to go next level-ish. For that, we go to the Diamond and the Astros' little man, Jose Altuve. Dylan, he has been big at the plate. Today, Altuve went 4 for 5 against the Orioles. That extends his hitting streak to 15 games. In 7 of those games, he has 3 or more hits. When you look at Altuve, his batting average has been climbing, going from .326 to an AL-leading .358. Dylan, do you think now it's time to put Altuve's name in the MVP discussion?
Without a doubt. Obviously, when you look at MVP candidates, you look at great players from great teams. This has been the best team in the American League, pretty much wire to wire. And with the injury to Dallas Keuchel, what makes them great is their offense. We know Springer's sort of been all over that MVP talk as well. Correa put himself in before the injury.
Yep.
But Altuve's really taken over in true Altuve fashion. Contact hitting and a ton of it. With raising that average as much as he has, he's just one of the best all-around players in the game. He runs the bases well. We know he flashes the leather and defends spectacularly. And when we think of Altuve, we think of a 330-plus hitter. And now he's firmly way above that, continually raising his batting average. And I think when you look at the Astros' success, he's a huge, huge part of it. Has to be in the MVP discussion. You also look at a guy like Aaron Judge, who I think still probably is the leader in the clubhouse there.
Okay.
He slipped. If they were both hitting 330, which they were for a little while, and Aaron Judge is just blowing the field away with home runs, on-base percentage, slugging, walks, you got to go to the big fella. But all of a sudden, now with Aaron Judge kind of having a little bit of a slump, and he's broken out of it a little bit, but he's not a 340, 330 hitter anymore. That average has dropped closer to 310, 315. Now, all of a sudden, you look at Altuve up here with that batting average, Judge down here a little bit. It's even the gap between some like the power, and they're going to go with that splashy slugging percentage and walks and the home runs. But for a lot of people, when you look at the well-rounded play of Altuve, he's neck and neck with Judge in that AL MVP discussion.
Yeah, and you mentioned George Springer. I wonder if Springer isn't the MVP of the team. If it came down to it, I would have to think they kind of take votes away from each other.
I think that's true.
When you look at Springer hitting 311, not far off the 358, 27 jacks, 66 RBIs. That's top 10 in both categories.
Runs already,
and he's doing it from the leadoff position. Yeah. I mean, that's tough. You're the first guy that the pitcher sees. So, Tyler Jacobs, our colleague, he's been on record of saying that George Springer's the MVP of that team. He said that a couple of weeks ago.
Right, he's an idiot, but yeah.
But it's hard to argue when you look at the numbers for Springer.
And your point's well taken that we've seen this before. When you have a great team, it's usually because a lot of guys are playing great.
For sure.
Do they take votes away from each other? Will that be a factor? Because when you look at the Yankees' success, Severino's been really good, but he's not up for a Cy Young or anything like that. When you look at all the rest of the guys that are having good seasons, no one's in an MVP discussion. It's Aaron Judge that's put this team on his big, broad back. That's why he's out there. But with the Astros, it's like, ooh, is Altuve really the catalyst? Is Springer the catalyst? Because he's
Correa
the guy.
The catalyst when he was healthy?
It could take away votes. But I think when you look at the numbers and you dive inside why this team is so great, they should both firmly be right there with Aaron Judge. And there's a couple other players as well. But those guys are the leaders in the clubhouse as far as I'm concerned. If I have to give you a vote, if you're going to put me to it, it's still Judge for me.
Because he's a Yankees fan.
I am what I is.
I'll tell you what, though, the Astros, that's a good problem to have, trying to figure out who's the MVP of your team. Astros' best record in the